Button Bessies and Sound Playing Circuit Pythonistas, it's Professor Gallagher, and in this lesson we are going to learn a technique to instantly stop button play along with LED light animation. We'll implement this immediate stop as soon as a button is pressed. We'll examine a few techniques along the way, including working with return values and the audio out stop function. Let's learn big. So to catch a button press during pulse, we need to add a check for button press in our pulse function. And we're going to do that in each loop. So we can catch a press if we go from dark to full bright in this first loop, or from bright to dark in this second loop. Now we catch the button press the same way by adding if button_b.value inside of each loop. But then look what we do here. If button B is pressed, we return false. And also look what happens if we get through both loops and we don't press a button. We return true. Now if a return happens while you're going through a loop, it immediately breaks the loop stops, and you return from the function without executing any more lines. So say we're going through the loop from 0 to 100, and a press is detected when we're at 25, a quarter way bright. We don't finish the rest of the loop or the function. We immediately stop the loop and then head back to where the function was called with this return value set to false. Now check out how we modified audio.playing. We used to just call the pulse function, but now we're calling the pulse function and capturing a return value in a variable called keep playing. See this? So if we just returned by pressing button B, then keep playing is going to be false. So either we pressed button B and we returned early, returning false, or we didn't press button B, then both loops execute in full, and we hit this outdented return here that returns true. So in this line inside of audio.playing, after the function call, we check the value of keep playing. If we hadn't pressed button B, then keep playing is true. But if we pressed button B and we returned, then keep playing is false. Then if keep playing is false, we want to stop everything. We set pixels brightness off to 0, so the lights go off, and we call this audio out method that we haven't used before, audio.stop, and that turns off any sound playing from our audio object. Now we get to this line here, the outdented return keep playing line, and one of two things has happened. Either button B was pressed, so we turned off the brightness and we stopped audio, and if we stopped audio, we're no longer going through the audio playing. At this point, keep playing is false. We pressed a button. Or we never pressed button B. Each time we went through pulse, we returned true for keep playing. The audio file is done playing, and with no button B pressed, we return true for keep playing. So when we hit this line, either we're returning false because we interrupted audio playing, or we return true because we didn't press a button and we want the audio to keep playing. Now we also have changes in while true. First, notice how we call the play_sound function, and we set the return value now, which we didn't do before, to start playing. And we also get rid of the detect button B pressed in while true because we're now detecting it in the pulse function. So again, to recap, if we press button B, that's picked up in the pulse function, we return false to keep playing right here inside of the while audio playing loop in play sound. We shut off the lights, we shut off the sound, so audio is no longer playing. We return keep playing, which is false. That goes into start playing in while true. And as long as we're in while true, we're not going to start playing again. But if we never press button B, then each time through pulse, we return true to keep playing here in audio playing. We finish playing the sound, we return true to start playing, and our alarm will continue in the while true loop. That's it. Let's code this up and see if we get the result we wanted. Plug in that Circuit Playground board, Blueford or Express, start up PyCharm. If you're new here, welcome. You may want to check out the prior lessons in the playlist to see how we got to this point. Now, as of our last lesson, our code was alarm with buttons. Make sure you've got that up. And let's begin by modifying our pulse function so that we detect if button B has been pressed. To do that, at the same level as pixel.brightness, we'll add if button_b.value : and if we detect it indented below this, we want to return capital F false. And we'll do the same in the second range that goes from 100 down to 0. Now if we don't press either button and we run through both of these ranges, we want to return true. So make sure that we outdent so that we're even with both of the for statements, and we'll just enter return capital T true. Now where are we returning to? Well, where we called the pulse function. We do that inside of play sound, and we're going to modify where we call the pulse function inside of while audio playing, adding keep_playing equals, that'll get the return value from pulse into this new variable keep playing. Then after this statement, we'll check to see what the value of keep playing is. If keep_playing double equals false, colon, that means we pressed a button and we returned early from our function. So what we want to do in this if statement is turn the brightness down to 0, pixels.brightness equals 0.0. And we want to turn off the audio that's playing, so we'll say audio.stop, open and close parens. Now audio is going to be done playing for one of two reasons. Either we pressed button B, that triggered audio stop, so we broke out of our while audio playing loop, or the whole audio file is done playing. In either case, we want to outdent even with the while statement while audio playing and return keep underscore playing. Either it's going to be false, we pressed a button and stopped things, or it's going to be true, we want to keep going. Then why don't you bring your bad self down into while true, and we can get rid of the if statement that checks button B value, because now we're doing that at two locations inside of our pulse function. This isn't needed anymore. But we will make one change inside of if start playing. We're going to set start playing equal to the value that's returned from play sound. Either true, we should keep playing, or false, we should stop playing. Remember, we're going to keep looping through while true, and that value we just returned is going to determine whether or not we call play sound again. That's it. Let's open up our terminal, make sure the TO is running, save our work, and check things out. Let's press A, alarm is on. Let's press B, alarm is off, and instantly off. Nice work. Let's press A again. And we'll let the sound cycle through one play and into the second play, and we'll press B again. Alarm turns off, and we can do this over and over again. On, off, on, off. The change is instantaneous. Outstanding. So let's change our comment up here to read alarm instant off, and we'll save this to our CircuitPython school folder. And once that's done, make sure that you close your outside tab, and things are looking good. I hope you feel like you learned quite a bit here. There was indeed big learning. Most importantly, new techniques. Make sure that you understand the code logic, because in the last few lessons, we really were getting deeper into how programs execute and how different events like button presses or sound can work together to create the kind of environment we want in our electronics projects. Keep hacking. There's more goodness to come.